Good morning, it's October 26th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. The war in Israel is costing real lives. Here in the United States, the war is more of a public relations battle as both sides try to dominate the narrative. The news media has shown that they want to jump on the side of the Palestinians. Now, I suspect they want this because they see it as a white Israeli against brown Palestinians. They see it as a white nation oppressing a brown nation. All the while, they ignore the facts and take the sides of the one they want to champion. When the rocket hit the hospital in Gaza, the terrorist Hamas organization immediately blamed Israel for this hideous act. No sooner did they do that than the major news outlets bought the story, hook, line, and sinker, and their headlines and stories placed the blame on Israel. Why wait for the facts when you can create a clickbaiting headline that will resonate with people looking to hide their anti-Semitism in some form of outrage about a hospital being bombed? What those who rushed to judgment forgot was about the technology that both Israel and the United States possess when it comes to warfare. Hamas and its fellow band of terrorists, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, can only make untrue claims and hope the media buys it. And buy it they did. But when the video and telemetry technology shows that the rocket that hit the hospital was not fired by Israel, but rather from the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, they didn't know what to say. It was a faulty rocket that took off, failed, and landed in a parking lot of a hospital. And the casualties that Hamas claimed were exaggerated. But the headlines mobilized thousands of students on college campuses that were looking for a way to protest Israel, and they immediately marched, chanting Palestinian slogans. Particularly, they chanted Palestine from the river to the sea. I'm assuming that most of them do not know what that means. What it means is that Israel as a nation should not exist, and all Jews living in that area should be eliminated. All across Europe, thousands of people took to the streets protesting and blaming Israel for the Hamas terrorist attack. It became so bad that France had to ban protests. And they did this because they'd read the headlines in the New York Times and other media blaming Israel for the attack on the hospital. As I said, that information was false, but the media was very slow to retract it. And even the New York Times finally gave a weak retraction without a sincere apology for the information they had misinformed people about. In Congress, you have several members of the squad, led by Congresswoman Rashid Tlaib, who have held rallies on Capitol Hill accusing Israel of starting the conflict. Several of them voted against the House resolution yesterday condemning the terrorist attack by Hamas. Nowhere do they mention the Israelis that were killed in this terrorist attack, people just attending a music festival slaughtered. In the United Nations yesterday, the United States offered a resolution calling for respect for human life and for humanitarian pauses in the war in order to get aid into Gaza. It failed to pass because Russia and China vetoed it. That resolution would have fully endorsed Israel's right to defend itself, but it would have also emphasized the protection of civilians and calling for pauses to provide aid. It was the language that Israel can defend itself that made these two nations veto the resolution. And I keep waiting for someone to stand up to these protesters to confront them. Ask them how they would react if terrorists parachuted onto their campus and indiscriminately started killing people. Ask why Hamas was not allowed free elections in Gaza since they seized power. Ask them why the Palestinians have refused multiple offers to create a Palestinian state. Ask them why Egypt won't take the Palestinians, why Jordan won't, why Saudi Arabia won't, why the rest of the Arab world won't. They won't be able to answer these questions because they've not taken the time to delve into the details. They just want to protest against Israel, and this is the latent anti-Semitism that existed among these white liberal elites for years. Years ago, Brendan Fraser started a movie called School Ties. He was this star quarterback in a blue-collar town in Pennsylvania. He was offered a scholarship at a prestigious prep school in New England. He felt pressure to hide the fact that he was Jewish from his classmates. He was the football hero, the big man on campus, until his secret was found out. Suddenly, no girl could date him, and he was accused of cheating on a test. Well, there's a lot more to the story, but the point is the anti-Semitism broke out amongst those privileged white kids. And I believe that anti-Semitism is still there among this group of people. The terrorist attack, the media blaming Israel for causing it, allowed it to bubble up to the surface. They hide this characteristic by claiming they're just supporting Palestine. But in doing so, they're calling for the annihilation of all Jews in Israel. They will pretend they're not saying that, but when they chant Palestine from the river to the sea, that is exactly what they're saying. And the media should be pointing that out day after day. They should be calling out this anti-Semitism for what it is. Make it plain. It can't be tolerated. It's been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.